today. It's just a simple boil up the pot, take a seat by the hearth, and enjoy a fine brew with the Journeyman Questers.
The Journeyman. Lovely Journeyman.
Just a bunch of men, just a bunch of cis white boys.
Yep.
Maybe the Horniman Questers? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Questers.
I've got a natural must coming up. It's summer.
Welcome to Ram Ranch.
Oh, man.
I want some of this cheese.
Oh.
Good to be back, everyone. It's been a little summer break in the middle of a very cold and epic landscape that surrounds the gypsies currently.
Sounds. Why would we ever want to escape into a, mentally escape into a cold, frigid landscape right now? Why would we want that?
I'm going to do a catch-up. An impromptu sort of reminder of things that have happened or did happen. But you know what? I think I actually need to join one more thing on the Zoom, so we're not all off center. I should have done that before we started. Okay, hang
Oh, our resident rogue is en route. He's going to be one sec.
So, previously on the Gypsies of Fortune.
Oh, I'm lost.
You're going to have to let me in, Rube, just so it pushes everyone along.
Oh, yeah.
So, previously, the Gypsies found themselves in the tower. The tower in which you fought an epic battle of immense proportions with Malik and Vishik, the malicious and vicious devil twins from the far depths and layers of hell themselves. An incredible battle in which the heroes played through combat over maybe like 4 or 5 sessions. It felt like a really long time. Probably the most epic combat we have ever done. 2 massive dragon level difficulty creatures fighting inside a very small place with spells and tricks up their sleeve and all sorts.
And this is after 2, what was it, Goliath-y mini-bosses, those huge Hulk things.
Oh, yeah. Before I'd worn you down a bit with a bunch of other stuff, too.
That was just the amuse-bouche for the entree.
However,
aperitif.
Our heroes, just when it was looking dire, were in luck, as their proteges, now all full-grown, stormed in to the tower, the Fate's children. You were able to kind of control, and you played as some of the others. They're going to be now returning back into NPC uncontrollable forms for not being in combat-related stuff. You witnessed various things. I'll just quickly recap on some of those. So we had a wall of force blocking off Elgrin fleet, while Thiazi lay dead in the middle of the chamber, his life's blood bleeding out. Some kind of scripture was signed as Elgrin, in a strange, abnormal state, signed away on this infernal document presented by none other than Malik himself. And Thiazi was brought back to life, but disappearing in sort of fire, like burning away, transitioning somewhere. Elgrin vanished. A battle then took place in which you fought with an invisible Malik in the tower. Certain people were, like Dylan was extremely injured, and also injuring Dutch in the process with their twin-linked magical items. Malik was just going for blood. Interestingly, they knew, or Dylan and you all knew, that he would not be able to attack him because of the contract they'd previously signed. So whether that contract is null, whether something happened in the process of a new contract being written, you are unsure. Eventually, the combat sort of ceased as Malik jumped back into his wall of force and summoned his brother. His brother landing on the floor above and slowly making his way down, absolutely eviscerating a poor Jasper Bravethorn in the process. He was already on death's door. You fought with Vishik, which was a gruesome fight. 2 people died during this fight. Richter was killed by Malik downstairs, a tongue lasher through the eye, through his
right
face,
through the face,
and around sort of like the barbs of it covering. And didn't he slammed a hand into your face too and cast a really high level inflict wounds?
Yeah, so I had a nasty hand gash on my face, and then I got stabbed through the eye, right, was his name Jorah from season 1 of Game of Thrones? Jamie gets him right in the eye, gives him a sexy look as he does it. Yeah, that was how I went out. It was pretty nice.
And upstairs, Dutch was cleft in twixt into 3. And as the rest of the Fate's children appeared, Anchor, Jin, Arabella, Yunin, Gaze, and Silas all flooding into the room.
Don't forget him, King.
A choice was made. Yunin could summon one more person, or at the time. Then I made you roll basically to see how much they had lost, how much they had managed to keep. Most of Yunin's spells Theo rolled had disappeared or had used, but luckily not quite. You had one more use of the Revivify. Revivifying Dutch in the moment was proved okay. And as Malik appeared holding the head, the decapitated head of your friend Richter, everyone seemed to move into a different feel to this this fight, and no mercy was spared when Malik was slain by Dylan's hand and soul absorbed into the umbral quiver. Vishik, seeing his brother consumed, snapped mentally and began just hacking into you all. But just before death, and just before he was able to either escape or be consumed by the umbral quiver, a portal opened up in the far wall. A gate, a very high level spell, one in which you can summon someone through when you call their name. An incredible feat of magic prowess opened just to disintegrate this creature through it. So his body disintegrated, becoming ash, no more. Through this portal you could see a great tapestry, similar to the one beneath the Church of the High Hunt. A huge tapestry with various engravings and depictions of maddening events, and the same visual depiction of the multi-armed, twin-horned, demon-looking creature. A hooded figure, shrouded in darkness, in shadow, raised a hand and disintegrated Vishik, and called towards you all. And the portal closed. You rushed to the head of Richter and a ritual was put in place to bring him back from the second time from death. You performed a skill challenge in which you lowered the DC as much as you could, but the DC had already gone up due to the amount of deaths that Richter has already been through. And the DC, I remember very vividly, was 8. And what did you roll? Do you remember what you actually rolled?
I think it might have been. I think it was 12.
I think it was like not that much above. But
Not much above.
You baited us all.
I did.
With
I
a gasp of breath and slightly over half, like 50%, was like 60%, something like that, to bring you back. And thankfully, Richter returned. An epic moment for the gypsies as their friend reforged anew from the same body and blood. And we ended the session with Dylan standing with the tongue lasher in hand, it curiously thrumming with an energy akin to how he feels with the umbral quiver. In fact, in the room, all of your stones, your shards of the god of games, quiver or thrum with some kind of anticipation. But there is a clang of metal from up the stairs, and skidding round the corner, broadsword over his shoulder and orb in hand, you see Varian, son of Vadron, standing before you all. He says, "Friends, the battle, it is not going well," is what he said, as he pointed sort of angrily at you all. And that is where we begin today's session. So, Gypsies of Fortune, what do you wish to do?
Good to see you, Dragon Priest. Arrived just in time.
Well, a Dragon Priest always arrives when he means to.
Don't sue.
Have you seen all of the Shivra outside? So many dead. Ha ha! Gypsies! He like makes like a.
Varian, there was a shockwave earlier. Can you tell us the state of the energy wall? What lies beyond it?
The wall.
What has transpired?
The strange purple force field enshrouding the city. You can see now, like, Varian is much changed. It has been like a considerable amount of time. He's more portly. He's graying. His beard has grown out a little bit, like it's a little bit kind of fluffy. He looks more eccentric than maybe he ever has. The chainmail he's wearing, or his like armor of the platinum dragon, is bursting. Like it's tight. You don't know how long ago he had to put it on, but his father's broadsword is polished to an absolute sheen.
Fetch the breastplate stretcher.
He takes the orb of Carmoon, and looking over to you, Zook, places it into your hand.
What is you kept this all this time?
Well, yes. I mean, it was you lot were trying to take it through portals and all over the place, and you can't put. I told you before, you can't put something that can transport within something that, or take it somewhere that can you'll create some kind of incredible explosion or something.
I'm just glad you didn't have it stolen in the tavern. I think there's some disreputable people that go to those sort of establishments. So well done.
I've kept it on my person most of this time.
Is anything strange happened with it?
You can see it's enshrouded in like a cloth, a bit like Sauron's
this
eye
Palantir.
thing. Yeah, it's like that. It's got like it's in a sack basically.
Has there been any kind of shift, any activity, anything strange happened with it at all?
There has. As of late, since this blood moon, he sort of like looks up, and you can sense it there, even though there's no light on you. It calls. It beckons. I dare not look deep into it as Dutch once had. But I know that it is vitally important. I've spoken with Bahamut himself, who urges me that it must go into your hands. It must go into the hands of those pure and good. And he sort of pokes your chest a little bit too hard,
Ow.
you know, like,
Right, so I'm not just a pixie anymore.
Well, of course, but pixies can be tricksy, but still good of heart.
Good to see you've changed your tune on a minor scale.
He walks over and says, "Beast!" and like takes your hand in a strong hold, and you can feel, even though he is like older now, he's still got the like strength of the Bahamut of the Platinum Dragon behind him. And he sort of looks around at everyone, giving each of you a sort of a Ruthus style knowing nod, but it's more of like a gruff Varian curt nod. He seems to know all of Fate's children. They don't seem like they're like, who is this guy?
Tashi, can I talk yet? Has it been 8 minutes?
I would say that one has faded. Yes.
Great.
All right, where is Sunquest? As he turns.
I'm here. It's good to see you once more, Varian.
Aha! He comes over.
Have you come purely as a delivery boy, or will you join us in the fray?
I'm no delivery boy, but I have come to deliver this. But well, we must not dally. We cannot dally. The forces outside, it is not going well, Ruthus. They need your help. They need your guidance.
Just my thoughts exactly, Varian. As Ruthus looks to the others, we saw what was through that portal just there. The barrier is down. We must press our advantage. Who knows what the Lich King has in store?
Varian, are there new threats on the field, or is it still mostly consisting of Shivra and those winged beasts?
It is mainly the Shivra and the winged beasts, but they are in great number. The Shivra! Those that murdered my father. I will not stand while a single one walks this earth.
When the barrier fell, Varian, are they retreating, or are they fighting yet still?
They fight to the death like primal savages.
Then we must go, because as we know, our host will be obliterated otherwise. This was the gamble.
What is your plan, gypsies and Fate's children? He sort of looks around at you all, standing, taking a moment to like sort of catch your breath. Can everyone just take a moment to just describe what their character looks like in this moment, and the sort of level of exhaustion that they are currently in? Zook, why don't you start?
So Zook is his skin has turned translucent and is a paler white than it's normally sort of like a mossy green, but it's a very pale green. You can see his veins through. His eyes are bloodshot, and there is a small like trickle of blood running down his nose. He looks in good health, but he looks like occasionally he'll just like his head will just float down and wander up again. And in his mind, he's trying to force back the idea that Elgrin is gone, because he knows that things need to be done, but his heart is kind of slightly wrenching and tugging, but he's just burying that information to try and remember that there is a task to be done. Yeah, his clothes are quite clean still. It's not bloody.
Richter, can you go next?
Richter looks in remarkably good state, considering that he has just been fully restored. Does that actually?
You're a 1 hit point.
On 1 hit point. Richter's appearance looks clean. However, a mere second glance at the man would reveal he is shattered. He is broken inside. He is beginning to sweat. He is exhausted and deeply, deeply wounded. However, his heart is willing. His expression is ashen. His Githyanki skin mottled yellow, and his hair lank and greasy over it. As he clutches at the red halberd in his hand, and the armor of Strognor Redspire, one of the few names I've fully remembered for this whole campaign, gleams under the flickering torchlights.
Ruthus.
Ruthus, on the surface, looks absolutely fucked. He is covered in dirt and dust and dried blood everywhere. Hundreds of scratches and cuts, but cuts that are like newly, stitched together, over the course of healing. His armor's all dented, there's tears in his clothing. However, he's absolutely fine because he's on full health from going down and up again like several times over the course of the battle. And with that, he touches himself, as well as casting Presti to clean up his appearance, and he brushes off the last of the dust. That's better. We must look our best for the troops, so that morale is at its best. As he takes off of his back the huge spear, I can't remember the name of it, with the flowing.
The banner.
The banner, yeah.
And Dutch.
Dutch looks like he's been fucking thrown through a meat blender. His clothes, not just torn, some just sleeves hanging off. Where he's been cut in twain, in twixt. The tattoos that were on his chest now sit slightly off and don't match anymore. His face has been battered, his eyes are swollen, his nose crooked, new teeth missing. But he looks all right. Other than that.
Theo, are you there?
Here.
Oh yeah.
Just about hear that.
We're just describing what our characters look like in the current moment and how they look physically and maybe how they are mentally. What does Dylan look like?
Dylan is running through the last, I don't know, I guess a few minutes really that have just occurred through his head. How it went from looking extremely dire, his friends on their last legs, and his brother actually being slain by one of the devils, to the reinforcements arriving and the tide turning so quickly. And that moment when things really switched, when he did something that probably the devils didn't quite think was possible. and he's just filled with an extreme sense of morbid irony. I think in this moment, if he were to look like, well, more humanoid, less bestial, you'd see someone who, although, you know, bloodied and relatively calm as his sort of martial training would allow, upon sort of gleaning a deeper insight, you would see someone's mind, sort of behind the eyes, you would see someone who has experienced something quite extraordinary, be it for better or worse, and that is having a serious effect on his mental stability. He's not going to be a cackling lunatic, but I feel his sense of morality is dipping into a grey area.
Well put. You look down at the tongue lasher in your hand, and I was just saying before that it thrums with an energy or a pulse akin to that, or similar in some way to that of your umbral quiver. And all of the stones in the room that people are holding all seem to kind of reverberate with this anticipation.
Do I get the sense that the sword is a relic, is a stone?
You can make me an Arcana check to sort of have a look at it. Study
Sure.
it.
I have to guess what my Arcana is. What's our proficiency bonus at the moment? Is it +4 or 5?
+6.
+6. Okay. I'm pretty sure. So that's going to be an unnatural 20.
You take a good look at this sword. When it's like how it is currently, lying flat in your hand, it just looks like this like long, thin, narrow blade. The hilt itself is like curled, like devil bat wings that sort of come up. That's where the crossguard is. The bottom is like, a talon sort of hand or claw, or like sort of foot. It's demonic in every sense, but there's no groove sections. You've seen it sort of come apart, like slide apart and whip about like it's moving up by itself. There are markings and glyphs sort of all down it in Draconic. And sort of looking at it, you just, for some reason, understand. You just kind of easily wash your eyes over and take in sort of the meanings of this demonic script. With a 20, it's not a stone, but it's definitely deeply magical, and something about it, with just a straight 20, there's something about it that's similar to the stones. It's definitely not a stone. It doesn't. You wouldn't say it was sentient either, like the items you have. You try and sort of bond with it in some way, but that's all that you can learn from it at this current moment.
Okay.
It feels, I will say, it feels very similar to holding the orb.
It has a connection to something that's extraplanar, I guess.
Potentially.
It is of hell. This object.
I think hearing Ruthus's voice behind him sort of takes Dylan out of an almost trance-like state, and he kind of shakes himself like, Ruthus.
Dylan. It is
You
a
are
cursed
well?
object, this. I am well, but you see a glinting of determination and like, what's the word? Like a needing to get on with something. Look in his eye.
Dogged determination.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going AFK very briefly.
No worries.
Back in about 10 or so.
I would fear a blade like this, Dylan. It comes from a hellish place, if you will. Maybe it has a will of its own.
Best I not leave it, that someone could stumble upon it then.
Varian strides over to you, Ruthus. He kind of walks up, nodding around. There's something wrong with you, Ruthus. And he looks sort of towards your eyes. What is it? What's wrong with you?
Well, upon entering the tower, we saw the text scrawled over the walls, and after that, I couldn't speak for some time, and why are we here? Can't we just get on? We've got things to do.
Are you pushing past Varian, or are you just sort of standing there?
I'm just saying that to him, and sort of addressing the group.
He's gonna do an insight check on you. Varian's got good insight. Oh, natural 19 plus. That's gonna be a.
Be good.
A 29.
29.
Varian puts his hand on your shoulder. This may hurt a little, and he slams his other hand into your chest. He's going to cast. Varian's going to cast a remove curse because he thinks it's a curse. It's technically not a curse.
I think whilst this is going on, Dylan will walk over to Dutch and just like place a hand on his shoulder and just whisper, I thought I lost you there for a second.
Dying fucking hurts.
I wouldn't know, but it hurts as much as those bloody attacks from those devils did then. I'm sure it did.
There's nothing afterwards.
Union steps up sort of with you. This kind of like divine energy sort of slowly fading from the spell cast before to bring Richter back.
Dylan just embraces him.
Oh,
like it's kind of, yeah.
He seems kind of taken aback at first, but he puts his hands fully around you and brings you in. I kind of, at the back of his head, I kind of put my hands into his hair and I just put his forehead to my forehead and I just say, thank you so fucking much. Thank you. You do not know how thankful we are.
Dutch joins in, squishes them both.
Oh, you guys have like a three brotherly like grapple with Union sandwiched in between you.
half-elf feet and human feet floating in the air.
You feel
Starts
some. You
lifting
feel
up.
some iron hands grab around you, and Anchor says, "I will join in for comfort and friendship," and puts his hands sort of around. Immediately, you see Jin gets it. Gets in on this sort of like group bundle hug and comes in breathing kind of like smelly dog breath. Some of them are like pretty hurt. You know, they've been fucked up in this battle too. And eventually, like, everyone just sort of gathers around you guys that are in the middle hugging, except for Varian and Ruthus.
Why? Let go! Stop hugging! We have things to do!
That didn't work. By the north wind, he sort of summons this gust above your head and slaps his hand down onto your forehead. He's going to cast Greater Restoration on you.
Whoa!
He can undo one of the madnesses.
Okay.
I'll let you decide which madness it's gonna get rid
How
of.
many do you have, bro?
A lot. I'm going to get rid of the one where I take damage and I get confusion.
Yeah.
That one was pretty bad.
He slaps that one off you and then goes, that cost 100 golds worth of diamond dust. Ruthus. Are you well?
I feel a bit better, thank you. But we have things to do. We can't stand around hugging all day.
Ruthus speaks truth. Let's finish this.
Varian sort of takes a step back.
The others are out there right now being slaughtered by Shivra.
They are. Quick, we must hasten
Yes.
to the top of the tower to see what the matter is. And he immediately begins-
Wait, shouldn't we go down?
I have an idea. Those of you that wish to come with me, you may.
Yeah, God, man, this sounds dumb.
Dutch, any others of you? I mean, I've only got one space on Ook.
Who can go? Who can go where? We don't have the. Rupert can't fly anymore.
I can't become a beast. I'm spent. At that moment, I look to Thiazi and say, I don't suppose it's too late to ask for some assistance. I feel weak.
I have no more druidic capabilities like that. I turned into an earth elemental, and I flew here, and I turned into other things that I don't have anymore. But you are all looking worse for wear, and I have what magic left in me. He is going to use his last 5th level. Oh no, he doesn't have one. He's going to upcast. No, he doesn't have any left either. Shit. He can do a mass healing word. He's going to do a mass healing word. He can do that. Shit, he's really out, actually.
Nice.
So, mass healing word. Everyone is going to heal. In fact, how many is it? It's 8 people. Healing word. I think it is. Mass healing word is 6. 6 people. So, Richter, Dutch, you guys look pretty hurt. Dylan, are you hurt?
I would say I have just under a 5th of my health left.
Okay, in which case...
Once you've lost temporary hit points, you can't go back up to them, can you? No. I'm at full health, so I don't need it.
Okay.
You can have a temporary maximum, but that's different.
Yeah, we do have that from Hero's Feast.
It's only 11.
Oh, okay.
11 hit points to Ruthus, Dutch. Richter and Dutch. I'll tell Richter when he's back.
11 was that?
11, yeah, 11.
Okay. I'm actually not that far. Okay, yeah, I'll take it.
Who's really hurt? Richter is, isn't he?
Yeah, Richter got it too.
Are you low health, Rupert, or are you just low on spells?
I'm just low on spells.
Exhausted.
Okay.
He looks like drained, like mentally.
Yeah. Ruthus looks to Richter and says, "Richter, you go with Dylan and Dutch in the sky. You're in a bad way. If you get hit on the ground, safest for you up there."
I hate to throw a spanner into the works, but I'm not sure Uke can carry more than 2 of us.
Very well. Come with us.
No, he can take my spot. He's got Eldritch Blast anyway. He's got those magical missiles.
I'm okay with that, as long as you're alright. Don't go fucking dying on me again, alright?
Not twice in one day.
And I don't know. Should I take this blade, or does someone else want to safeguard it?
I think we should keep it away from the orb, so I would say keep it away from me.
I'll just stow it. I'm gonna stow it.
Standing
Put it
near
in the
each
bag of withholding.
Standing near each other, you, Zook and Dylan, holding each of those. You feel you feel like a longing, like a drawing sensation. Richter, interestingly, also feels that same sensation from the bag of withholding.
Oh, what have we put in there?
Bag of withholding.
It might be the bag of withholding itself.
What? Sorry. What happened to the big demon's sword?
It is lying on the ground over here.
Is that Vishik's?
Yeah, can I go pick it up? See the thing that fucking killed me?
You reach down, grabbing Abyssbane. And what's your strength?
20.
You are able to pick it up.
Ooh.
Because you have 20 or above. You heft this massive sword. You wouldn't be able to, wield it effectively, but you are able to at least carry it around. Standing near Zook and Ruthus and Richter, you feel the same tug, the same, longing. It's similar to the feeling that you feel you feel it right now, where all your stones are humming at the same time, like they're wanting to be together.
Sorry?
Sorry, what?
Did you mean to say coming?
You did say it it was said in literally a very matter-of-fact way that all the stones are coming. All together.
No, I said humming. I said
Oh,
humming.
I thought you said coming.
Came out as
coming.
I thought you said all the stones are
They're
together.
all humming. They're all just coming in unison. No, they're humming. They're
okay.
vibrating.
I just saw Mike's face and I couldn't screen it.
Yeah.
Could these not be some kind of shadow artifacts? Some antithesis to whatever we hold in our
No doubt.
possession?
I think our best option now is if it's a good idea that actually Dutch goes with you lot, because he can then take that blade back down to whatever we have remaining, and then once we've cleared all the rest of this shit up, then we could potentially examine it later, or at least I just don't think we should leave it lying around here for when that fucker eventually comes back to the mortal plane and decides to reclaim it.
No, we should safeguard it.
Richter's like, you could put it in the bag of withholding, but the bag of withholding feels like it wants to be near it.
No.
How big is it?
It's like a Final Fantasy sword. It's one of those huge.
Oh fuck! Can I try giving it a swing?
Yeah, sure. Roll me an athletics check.
We all vacate the vicinity.
Athletics. Shit. So that's plus 11. So only a 14.
Yeah, you drag it along the ground a bit and manage to lift it up. And then you have to put it back down again.
Oh, fuck.
We should go. There's, like you said, there's much that we can still lose if we dally.
Well, you all look pretty fucked up. Like I've used some things, but I can spare some healing for those that need it. He looks towards Jin. Maybe not him though.
I just kind of sigh audibly.
It's a joke. He walks up, and you see them have a little hug, and it's been like 20 years. They're totally cool. Jin like punches him in the shoulder a bit, and he's like, "Oh, this guy."
See, all wounds can heal.
Varian's basically going to spend some healing on those that need it. He's going to spend some healing on Fate's children. Richter, he's going to heal. He's going to expend a 6th level cure wounds. So Richter is going to heal quite a lot. Richter's already healed 11. Richter just healed another 23, so he's healed 33 altogether. No, sorry, 34.
Nice.
34. I'll write that down quick. Okay. And he's going to expend some others to heal some of the Fate's children too. You can hear Ook crying from the top of the tower, or at least like hooting out. And I'll say, for expedience sake, you guys all rush to the top of the tower, just to survey what's going on, to be able to see. Because at the base of the tower, looking out, you're not going to get as good a vantage point sort of down onto the battlefield. Oh yeah, shit. No, sorry. Right before you do go, you're all running up the stairs, and Varian's like, "Who's this?" and points on the ground at like the eviscerated corpse of Jasper Bravethorn.
It's yet another casualty. It's Jasper.
You see him turn to leave, and then grab his ring. Ugh! And he mutters something in Draconic. He pulls out a diamond and slams the diamond down into Jasper Bravethorn's chest, and he's going to bring Jasper Bravethorn back. You watch the divine energies of Varian, son of Vadron, one of your closest companions. That unfortunately Rolo couldn't come because he's on holiday. He said he was gutted to not be able to actually come, but he's in Greece.
No doubt we'll have another session.
Yeah.
And you see the light and the cold north wind blow about him, and the wounds around his face slowly sort of close up. He's left with these sort of almost platinum looking scars of where the tongue lasher inflicted wounds upon him, and he looks around at like gazing towards everyone, and then just begins crying, tears rolling down his face. Have we won? We won, didn't we?
Not yet.
Close. We're close.
He gets up sort of off the ground, looking over, like sort of patting himself down. You have brought me back from the brink of death again. How can I ever repay you, gypsies?
I'm sure you could do a shift at Varian's bar once this is all done.
It will be so. He reaches a hand out and summons his spear into his hand. It sort of appears like he always does in golden light. He looks towards... who else was with him? He looks towards Thiazi. And you can see them in deep sort of conversation. And Thiazi basically catches him up on what had happened. The rest of you, while this is happening, rush to the top of the tower. And looking out across the battlefield, those that want to spot choice things can roll me a perception check.
Uh-huh.
Can I send Ook and walk through his eyes?
Yeah, you certainly can.
What are we looking at?
You're looking either, you got to tell me you're either looking towards the battle or towards the city.
Oh.
Towards the city.
I'm going to look towards the battle.
City too.
What time of day is it?
It is full blood moon. It is like
disadvantage.
The snow is red, like it's just red. You emerge and the light immediately washes over you. Dylan and Jin, both of their claws extend even more. You feel your fangs kind of protrude out. There's like a clicking, cracking sensation. You can feel it bearing down on you, but you have trained to keep yourself under control. You think back to the time in the swamp in the Eocene by the Root Village, in which you and your friends let you transform, let you turn into this beast to try and harness it. This moon will not change who you are, but it will change your physicality. Blood. It looks like rivers of blood everywhere, but it's just the light, the sheer, like blood red light of the moon. Zook and Ruthus, you're looking at the city. What did you roll?
I got a dirty 1.
31. Nice.
32.
A 32. Ruthus, you see a city of with
red.
like of red. Interestingly, it's red, but in the center is a crackling purple storm around a shattered tower. These pieces of the tower in swirling in this like crackling arcane purple energy. You can also see, even with a dirty 1, which is obviously shit, you can see the main things. You can see into the city properly. There's no longer a kind of weird purple sheen or frosting that's sort of distorting the vision into the city. You can see a cratered city that has shattered outwards and frozen in this ice. Something large detonated in the middle of this city eons ago. And the whole, like, sort of building, the metropolis itself has shattered outwards from that central point, but leaving this tower intact or semi-intact. It's like it's shattered out somehow, and then the pieces are now sort of back together but swirling around this sort of shattered central tower.
Does that ring any bells for Ruthus from anything that he's read in like histories of this event of that kind?
You can roll me a history check.
That is a 13.
Unfortunately not. The only thing that you would, as an academic and an intellectual, you know that this area of the Varamark once was a hellish desert landscape. And you know from some of the books that you found on your travels, some about the Book of Games, some about the Cataclysm, this thing known as the Cataclysm, which happened, which created this land to be this hellish scape of desert and magma. The further up you go, the further northwest into Skuldland you go, the older you know it is. And perhaps this was one of the sites in which some kind of cataclysm took place, or something happened long ago. The stonework, the masonry of these towers, and all of the city looks to be that strange, like no seamless, no brick work, like slate, bluish stone. Zook with a what did you say? 32.
32.
With a 32, I'll tell you everything that there is that I have written down. that would have otherwise gone unnoticed.
Like a UAV.
From the third tower that you're at, so you're on the western side of the city, you are now closest to a large silver tower. So obviously the shattered tower is the thing in the middle. But there is like a thin, smaller silver tower that kind of stretches up. You immediately recognize the architecture on this.
Oh no.
It is dwarven.
Oh, fuck.
It is sturdy and imposing and made of solid silver. You can see a stream of silver and black armored people marching from the tower, which looks unable to host or hold such a force, streaming out towards one of the gates and heading to join the battle. They're still pouring out of this tower like a long line of 4x4 like rows of armored dwarves. With a 32, you can see them perfectly with eagle vision. You can see they are larger than normal dwarves. In fact, they sit within small arcane structures that walk mechanized with them. You see some kind of arcane electricity crackling about them. An aquamarine colour, a turquoise colour of sorts. You know what this is, and you know what this means.
Motherfucker.
Across the city, you see a large, in fact, kind of towards the central tower, between the central tower and the shattered tower, you see a huge cavernous hole in the ground. We zoom, the camera kind of, zooms down and in as Shivra are birthed out of great, disgusting mother Shivra, a birthing pit filled with different kind of disgusting Shivra. You remember ages ago heading through the caverns and the tunnels under the mountain of Thaldaral and coming across some stray. You didn't. They did some stray Shivra, like mothers that were these fat, huge ones that exploded and had mini Shivra in them that they were birthing. It's like, Zook, nice. With a 32, your eagle eyes zoom in and you can see the greatest, biggest Shivra you've seen, sitting motionless or like kind of undulating, just squeezing out these like little gross sacks that like burst open with Shivra kind of crawling out, chittering and che-che-chering. Other Shivra grabbing them and like pulling them on. It's a bit like the scene in To Two Towers under
Europe.
And across on the other side of the city, by the tower that you guys originally conquered first, between there, you see another tower. A tower of black and red. Fire bursting from within it and pooling down. You see what looked to be some kind of devilish forge workshop. You can see like arms and weapons of a devilish nature being constructed through fire and flame, imps and those like winged beasts flapping around it up at the top. And in the center of the city, this arcane purple storm, swirling great pieces of the shattered tower around. Purple lightning strikes down from the clouds above. You take in the city before you. Dylan, what did you get on your roll to see the fighting happening?
29.
A 29. With a 29, you can see that the battle is not going well. The forces of good have had to pull back, and they are now one large clump, all together. The only people with a 29 you can't spy are the Ymir, the people of the Ymir Wood. who are probably hidden better than a 29, who must be skirmishing somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can see them all. You see the rest. Even the dwarves are still there. The dwarves of Thaldaral are holding the line, but they are being encircled by the amount of Shivra that are there, let alone the impending Silvermark Brotherhood force that are joining them. That Aiden missed, but yeah, there's a silver tower in the city that's basically just churning out mech dwarves.
Oh, great!
That I mechanized using that same tech that they got from the ASE. You can see, you can't see necessarily individuals, and you can no longer see any aerial-based combat happening.
Are they completely encircled?
They're not completely encircled, but they're fighting back. They're holding, but it's just like a matter of time. Maybe like half an hour maybe before they're entirely consumed or like surrounded entirely.
Yeah.
And let alone there's all of this new stuff coming in that looks to make it even worse.
I'm going to turn to the others and address them. We've got to do something to get them out of there.
I fear our only hope at this point is to press on. What can us, our small group, do to change the course of an entire battle?
I have a plan. At the other tower, I used the magic of the umbral quiver to destroy those Shivra. I could reproduce such a magical effect, and I could do it from Ook, and potentially that could buy them the time they need to retreat.
Yunin puts a hand on your shoulder and shakes his head. Brother, you know what must be done. You, those that hold these stones, are the ones that must go and defeat the one who holds the power here.
At what cost, Yunin? I cannot leave them to die.
This was the price. This is what we came here to do. We cannot save everyone. We must make harsh decisions. We can go in now while it's clear and strike at the heart. And if doing so, it might draw the rest of the army back to protect their leader.
You think this is best?
I didn't like it. But I think
how long do I think it
have
would
to
take
do.
to fly over to them from on Ook?
10 minutes there. 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back.
Is it literally straight back, or is it more of a curve?
It's more of a curve because you're on the west, yeah.
Yeah, so a curve would be okay, because then it wouldn't be 10 minutes all the way back in.
No, I guess not. You would know your spell is what, like 60 feet wide?
Yeah.
There's like thousands of Shivra. It's gonna like minorly dent the force.
Okay.
It might like choice block an area.
Yeah.
But just gazing down at like the amount, even with some insane heroes that can do some insane things, you don't know whether it would be successful. And even if you were to win that battle, what then? There's tons more stuff coming.
So be it.
Silas sort of looks to you all. If you're struggling to know what to do, I suggest you ask them, and she sort of points towards your stones. Can you not converse with them?
They were occupied when we last met them, but hopefully we must. They must know something. Zook's gonna hold his forehead and the circlet, and he's gonna close his eyes, and he's gonna go, Mr. Jack, can you hear me?
Let's bring them all to one place. Do you remember when we put them all together?
Ah, of course, contact.
And the time didn't pass either in the real world when we were there. Is that right?
Time didn't pass at all.
But instantaneous. Okay.
Well, time didn't pass here, the time passed somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. That is a good idea. We need as much wisdom as we can get. Quickly, bring them together.
Stand to lose nothing.
We go in.
Is everyone doing that?
Yep.
You all place your stones together in the center. You can hear all this like crazy noise of battle as you all burst out from under the blood. You're swimming in a blood sea. You can see nearby the house, the tavern sitting on the rock nearby is split asunder. There's like a bit of foundation left on the rock, and the rest is like smoking debris around you. Richter, you pull yourself up out onto basically a piece of the tavern wall that's floating on the blood. You pull each of you up, so you're all standing on basically this like little raft, and you all turn and gaze up at a battle happening above you. You see 5 figures of sort of like spectrally light and energy, but like with a physical form, flying around, battling with this unfathomable creature. A creature whose torso is out of the water, of the blood. The rest underneath it is so big. It towers up. Its head and arms are in the cloud storm sky that roils above. 6 arms of immense proportions, black onyx skin, slick with the red blood of the sea. Its face looms down through the storm, out, biting and clawing towards these small shards of gods that are your items, fighting with it in this realm. Its face, just sort of black ink with 2 red eyes glowing in the center. You see occasionally more of these like red eyes. Dutch, you are immediately taken to the moment that you looked into the orb of Carmoon and met a creature there. Its twinned horns pierce the storm, and you watch as one of the arms comes out for a swing and catches one of these lights, one of these people flying around in the air. Richter, you immediately grab your heart as you feel a vroom in your heart. The form spins in the air, tumbling down, catching itself and whizzing over towards you. You see, coming up in front of you, halberd, a like mirrored version of your halberd, which you don't have on you. He has it in his hands. The rook stands before you. You can see like blood pouring down one side of his head. You should not be here. What is it? Make it quick.
I look to Ruthus, momentarily lost for words.
What is that?
A hand bigger than the structure you're on, like bigger than the tavern, comes smashing down towards you to crush you and everyone on this raft. The rook turns and you see the king appear in his spectral glory, full armor, cloak flapping out in a wind behind him, sunlight sort of bursting from shield and sword. Plunges a sword into the hand, stopping it immediately where it is above you. He turns. Questions, quickly.
Jesus.
What are we here to ask again?
How do we? We're in the middle of a storm, a lightning storm of purple energy. We don't know what to do.
We're about to face Bren.
The king turns, pulling the sword back out, and you see something dark, the queen in this sort of like dark purple and black robes, shatter past, crushing through the the wrist of the hand, entirely severing it. The hand drops off and the rook throws it to the side in. The creature roils back as the hand regrows within seconds above you in the storm. You must go to him. You must find the one who would summon this. They point up towards this. And instead, you must summon us. You must pull and harness the energy of all of us back. For if we are whole, we can defeat it. And it will not make its way to your realm.
This is the avatar of Carmoon.
This is Carmoon himself. And they all kind of like begin twirling around and fighting with Carmoon in this realm. The jack spirals down behind and lands on the raft. He pulls out a tankard and hands it over to you, Dutch. You look thirsty. Take that.
Oh.
We have in our possession an orb connected to the Shadowfell. Why is it drawn to our items?
He's gonna roll. I don't know if it's drawn to us. I can't sense it. But it maybe can sense other things, and maybe it's connected to something or someone else. And he obviously points up towards that. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. But that sounds very important.
Mr. Jack, be careful. Don't be a hero.
Don't worry about me. Whoa! And he scoots off sideways, kicking a bunch of air out to shift your raft off to the side. He goes the other way, and a foot comes down, creating this huge tidal wave that you guys kind of ride on through the blood, away from where the foot is. You see him shoot off the other direction. The Gerasmus, the pawn, kind of ascends down towards you. What can I do for you?
Some of us are depleted, some of us are on death's door. Some of us have nothing left to give. Is there any way you can restore us in any way?
I'm afraid we can't from here. We are not part of your world in the same way that we once were. Make us whole, and we will be able to do anything.
Why is Carmoon connected to the Shadowfell?
He once ruled that plane, or at least he did while he was mortal. He has friends there, I'm sure. He has sway, much like a god does. People believe in him there. That's where he can draw his power.
In order to make you whole, do we have to reunite you with your brothers and sisters that we do not possess?
You do. For if they are here, we could turn the tide.
And
why is it that
you go ahead.
Why is it that the necromancer requires the stones to summon Carmoon?
He requires the power. He requires the sacrifice. He requires us as the sacrifice for the power of the ritual to bring Carmoon through to your world. And we would cease to be. Gerasmus summons, through illusions, summons essentially like a kind of like a sailboat, like with nice masts, kind of like an ancient style sailboat in illusion for you that you can physically feel. Jack sort of swoops past, summoning a bunch of wind into it, and you guys begin sailing off in like an opposite direction. The rook lands down onto the deck once more. You are headed out of here. A final question. He looks around. Is there anything that you need to know? We will not be able to speak again until the time comes.
Richter, feeling very weak, asks, if one of us should die in this quest, can their brothers take their shard of the stone for them?
He looks around sort of at you all and nods. But let's not let that happen. It is down to you, to all of you.
One last thing. And Zook kind of looks up at the thing zipping around. Yeah, it's like, if this works, if you come back and we defeat Carmoon and all is set right, what then will you do?
Well, I know what I would do. But I am not all. I am one piece.
We shall have to trust you.
He leaps from the deck as a huge hand comes down toward your boat to grab it, and you will open your eyes, time having not passed at all. Standing at the top of the tower, the blood moon right above you.
There we have it. We have our answer. We must go now, before the rest of our host perishes down there for nothing.
How do we get there?
The time for hugging is over. We must go.
Yunin steps forwards. There is something we can do. It is you that must go there, not us. We may be of help to you into the tower. We may not at all. We may hinder you. We could help there, and he points down towards the battle. But he looks towards sort of the gypsies as the elders in this situation. But it is up to you. We could accompany you, but I don't know what difference that would make. And I know that we could make a difference there, as my brother has rightly pointed out.
Dylan will put another hand on his shoulder once again and say, "Go to them. We may not make it back alive ourselves."
Very well.
Is there anything you can do to get us closer to the tower?
He shakes his head.
Then draw them away. Clear the path. And for God's sakes, stay alive.
We will. And good luck to you, Gypsies of Fortune. Good luck. They begin either kind of like levitating down like gaze or jumping off. You say your farewells to the various members in as quick fashion as you want. You guys can decide. We don't have to RP each individual one out. I imagine Silas gives you a big hug. Richter really gives you a squeeze.
It's returned, and there have been many goodbyes, and I'm hoping this isn't the last one.
You all say your various farewells.
I think Ruthus. I think Dylan will sort of like look at Ruthus, expecting him to give a certain signal of a certain style of goodbye that he uses on many occasions, which always fills everyone with a sense of joy,
sense of knowing.
A sense of knowing.
He calls out to everyone, planting the banner in the ground. Fate's children, gypsies of fortune, looking between them. You have your task. Set about it, and gives each a knowing nod.
Very good. Do you plant the banner down on the top of the tower?
To actually give that effect. They can immediately respond to the call, gain a point of inspiration, choose any attack. Yeah, why not? Yeah. In that process, he slams it down. You hear like the haft of the spear is made but of wood, but it cracks the stone on the ground that it plants into. And as it does so, the fragments of stone slowly float up around the base of the stone. And Rufus's voice kind of echoes a little bit with out into the air. So everyone here will get a point of inspiration. Or a D12 inspiration dice to use.
We'll do inspiration points, so you re-roll.
On any attack, ability check, saving throw. Yeah, that's it. But now that I've got it, in addition, everyone who's responded to the initial battle cry have +1 attack and advantage to fear effects whilst within 30 feet of the banner.
Okay, so are you going to bring the banner with you, or are you going to give it to them?
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Do we need extra attacks? And
+1. It's only +1. Is it +1 attack or an extra attack?
+1 attack.
Yeah, it's
Plus
like a
one to
+1
attack
to
rolls.
your attack.
Okay.
Yeah, and advantage against fear.
We're
immune to
already
fear.
immune to fear.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, he hands it over to
Who do you hand it to?
Anchor.
Yeah.
You hand it to Anger, who takes it like very sheepishly, kind of takes it off you. I am honored, Ruthus. You saved me long ago from a city within a mountain, and I am thankful I receive this now.
Anchor, you must be a beacon for all to see. Raise this flag high. Do not falter. Be strong.
He gives you a metallic knowing nod. You can see Jasper Braithorn is like so butthurt that you didn't give it to him.
He did die, so I mean.
They begin leaving, taking the banner with them to potentially change the tide of battle.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is Varian going with them or staying with us?
Varian says he will. Here's the thing, gypsies. I always wished to come with you on your adventures, but the fight for me is the Shivra. For they killed my father, and I will kill each and every one of those fucking dragon-forsaken spawn, and he just sort of begins frothing at the mouth. I cannot go with you, I must kill Shivra.
There's just hundreds of thousands of them down there.
Yeah.
As he makes this speech.
Go with Bahamut's fury, Varian. I wish you well.
Thank you, gypsies. And Zook, I have seen something. He's going to do what Varian does, and he's going to take you aside.
Ooh.
And Varian is going to lean in and whisper to you quietly. I have seen the city. I have done my reconnaissance. The city is much the same on the other side. He looks towards you in the orb. Much the same. But some things do not stand on the other side. Some things do. That silver tower I recognize. And I have seen with Bahamut's eyes into that place. And it is connected. It is connected somewhere else, where someone else sits, someone important to you.
You mean if we go there through the orb, that someone sits in the Shadowfell, that person is there or another place?
It came to me in riddles, like Bahamut likes to do. I don't think that it's connected to the Shadowfell, the tower. It is connected somewhere else.
I see.
Bahamut has also said that the various places within the city themselves may be of importance, but they may not, and there may not be enough time.
When you saw the city, Varian, through the orb, was it populated, guarded, patrolled?
It was much the same, as if this city exists both. Unlike other places I have been to through the Shadowfell orb, they were a dark reflection, whereas this place was unchanged.
It is part of the Shadowfell then. Is there anything to be wary of in the Shadowfell if we were to take that path?
Many things. Many things. I must leave. I must fight Shivra.
God damn it, Varian. Well, we'll see you for an ale in the Fortune's Rest.
You better all fucking be there.
Platinum wings swing you to grace, Varian.
Varian is gonna run up to the edge of the tower, and he's gonna jump off. And you see his body begin to extend and transform into a dragon, and he flies off back towards the light.
Varian away!
He just coils down and turns into a platinum dragon and flies towards the fighting.
Shit.
Not like a fucking massive one, but like a dragon. Yeah,
Oh,
even so.
Grown up now.
I wish he told us he could do that before he fucked off. It'd be really helpful right now.
I mean, why didn't I play a cleric? I didn't know they could do that.
I just look to Dylan and go, we wouldn't have him any other way.
Ruthus is gonna quickly, as Jasper turns away to head off, he's gonna grab him by the shoulder and turn him around quickly, and say, Jasper, when you get down there, if you want to, find my warhorse. It responds by the name of Justice. Climb upon her back and strike fear into the hearts of your enemies.
I will do that. I will do that, Ruthus. His voice breaks.
She is yours now.
I will do this. I will do this. He runs to the edge of the tower and he turns into a dragon. And I know he turns into Can you imagine?
Is anyone else here a dragon?
It's
No.
the new WoW DLC.
They very I think Varian would probably take a lot of them, and Silas jumps onto the back of Gaze and sort of rides him down to the ground.
Gaze.
You say
stalks.
your goodbyes. Hopefully not the last goodbyes that you say. And Kong gives you a big wet kiss, Dutch, before he runs off. So gypsies, where to next?
I am still on 1 HP.
Huh?
Am I still on 1 HP?
No. While you were gone, there were various healings. You healed 34 hit points.
Fantastic.
From a mixture of Varian and the Azzy.
Yeah.
The Azzy obviously gives you a massive hug, Zook, and says, "Come back."
I druidcraft some seeds, and I was like, I tell him to plant them in high canopy. If I don't,
If you don't make it, he takes them, but he's like, you'll come and plant them. He's gonna go find Tiki.
Okay, nice. I relay the information about the possible venture through the Shadowfell.
Okay.
In conjunction with that, looking at the dwarves, does it look like they are a wave of an impassable force? We won't be able to get around them to get to the city, or will we possibly be able to slip around them?
Yeah, you could definitely slip around them. They're headed from the kind of the tower to the southernmost point of the city. If you went slightly north from your position, you'd entirely dodge them. You could even approach the Silver Tower from an angle where they're not all pouring out. There's many options. What are you guys gonna do?
Yeah, I say we head straight for the source. If we come up against a impassable way, then we try the Shadowfell, travel through, and then teleport back.
Yes, Oshkar will be waiting for us once this is all dealt with. He will be brought to justice, Zook. I know it.
I know.
Our fight lies within that shattered tower. Listen, I think Ook could carry some of us. Perhaps those with the least remaining abilities. I would happily go on foot. I believe I could slip past unnoticed.
Do we want to broadcast that we are going there? Because a bird would surely draw in some of the flying beasts.
Here's the thing, I have a final use of invisibility.
I see. I can mask our footsteps if we all travel together. That's one thing I can do.
Well,
I think if we were to slip on the ground, it would be more subtle.
Perhaps traveling on foot together is the best option.
If we can be unseen, then all the better.
I would like to, at this point, sort of... Ook is there, I believe. Like Ook's somewhere
Ook is
around.
with you, yeah. Ook is on the...
I'm going to go up to him. I'm going to ruffle his feathers and sort of give him a sort of a slight embrace and just whisper to him, "You've done well. Do you wish to accompany us? Or you're free to leave if you wish. I can't promise that we'll return."
He nozzles his sort of beak and feathers back into you and stays close.
In which case, it might be best if you return to your smaller form.
He immediately shrinks back down to the form of the original owl-sized Ook.
And he'll just hop up onto my shoulder, and I'll just take out like a dead mouse or two that I have stashed in my pocket very hygienically, and just chuck them to him.
He fucking slurps those down, like, throws it in the air and does that thing where they just let gravity
guzzle it.
Let gravity just slide it into their mouth. Okay, so you guys are headed straight for the Shattered Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have could I go for a quick bathroom break?
Should we have a quick tea break?
Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you
Right,
shortly.
I won't be long. I'm just going to make tea.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a tea as well. I'll put on fun, nice music. Ooh-wee. We're just having a quick tea break, Aiden. Oh, I can't hear you.
There we go.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I should have waited a few seconds. I didn't know we were all getting drinks. Sorry.
We just thought really quick. You've basically decided you're at the top of the tower. You're deciding where to go, and I think most people are of the opinion they're just going to go straight for the Shattered Tower in the middle.
Beautiful.
So we're going to make a quick tea. Cool.
I mean, the problem with Far Cry 5 was that it just broke a lot of pre-existing things from the Far Cry series. Now, this might be a kind of, Western or Orientalist perspective, but after Indonesia in Far Cry 3 and Tibet in Far Cry 4, Montana is, I guess, you certainly got fields and cows, certainly. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. But, it didn't really tie into that kind of tropical exploration thing. Well, not tropical, exotic exploration thing that Far Cry plays into. And, further into that was the goddamn capture missions. It's a series which is kind of based on the idea of just sort of wandering around this big kind of landscape, running into situations and things you got to deal with. And then, you kill a few people, you blow up a few trucks, you take a couple bases, and suddenly it's like you're being hunted and you can't escape it. You can get in a helicopter and go all the way to the top of the skybox, and you're gonna fall asleep and wake up in an inescapable mission. It just breaks that flow, that exploration. And yeah, that was my main issue. And also, I think they pushed out on the villains. They really kind of built up this idea that, it's a kind of fundamentalist religious cults in Montana, and it's like, oh, cool, wow, this is like a kind of a Waco or sort of Branch Davidians kind of thing. This is, ooh, damn, this could be cool. But then the cult is really toothless. It's very vague. There's a couple Bible passages. They sing Amazing Grace at one point, and there's a cross, but no one ever really seems to bring up Jesus. It doesn't actually seem to be a specifically Christian cult. And I just feel like maybe they intended to be a little bit more with it, but it feels like they pulled back. So yeah, but I thought Far Cry 6 was a welcome return to form. Really fun, very exotic, very fun. I'm just waiting for people to make tea, I'm just killing time.
Dude, I'm here for all of it.
Excellent. I thought I was completely alone. That's awesome.
I was going to interrupt, but I decided just to let you go on. And I've got to say, I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
There were certainly elements of Far Cry 5 that I really enjoyed.
The music, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Couldn't fault
and
that.
It at moments, it achieved what it was trying to achieve. But what you said about it breaking the flow of you're I'm getting somewhere now, and then suddenly they just interrupt it and you've been captured and you're like, oh, what's going on?
Got to do a big cutscene, you got to do a big escape mission, and it's like I was literally wandering around the woods picking plants and shooting guys, and now I'm in a prison. This sucks.
It felt like they misplayed the pacing of the game.
Yeah.
It was almost pushing you to complete it. Actually you wanted to go and explore and kind of find cool things and stuff.
Yeah, but it would be prompting you to go and do stuff, which is just going to force the story along, when really it's like, you've given me this, I say it's boring, it's beautifully rendered. You've given me this beautifully rendered landscape to explore. Let me explore it,
Yeah. It definitely it ticked a lot of boxes for me, but at the end of the day it was probably a miss. I left completing it. I just felt like there was something missing, and I could never quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
It didn't have quite the same sort of finesse that the third one had.
God, the third one, just the perfect game, just so good.
Yeah, the villain
Wonderful.
was just so well rounded.
So good. Yeah.
Was that the one in Indonesia?
Yes, it was that one.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was amazing.
That was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
It was such an improvement. I mean, Far Cry 2 was really interesting to play. I mean, it was a fucking mess. It's really hard to play it, and it's kind of badly designed. But again, I know this is a bit, exotic, but it's Africa as a game setting is such a rare thing. Actual real ass Africa.
It was
it's
so hard, that one. The second one. I played it quite a bit. I couldn't quite do anything.
No, me neither. I played around the edges, but your gun would break after 2 clicks, and every time the checkpoints. Say?
Flamethrowers were OP as fuck.
The fire, they were so pleased with themselves for figuring out fire.
Not a fire of one side of a base. Yeah. And if the wind was blowing in the right direction, it'd just clear it out for you.
Just let it happen, Just lay back and watch it happen.
Machine gun and just mow them out.
Yeah.
Mow them down as they run out on fire.
Anything that runs out of the fire gets gatted. Beautiful, really.
My mistake with the Far Cry games is I always wanted to be this sort of stealth who like drops in and silently
Yeah,
takes it
I
out.
always do like bow and stabby at first.
Mike
but
showed
then-
me how you actually play that game. You launch a few rockets at
Yeah.
distance and then run in with a grenade launcher. That's how you're good at that game.
Yeah.
Everything is explosive or flammable. Like something's gonna happen if you do
Yeah,
that.
it's like you can be the stealthy, creepy archer guy who like paraglides in and like stabs guys, but you have to admit to yourself that you're just kind of cosplaying. When
Yeah.
you could deal with this so much more efficiently if you
Yeah.
just got out an M60 and started killing everything. But you do it because it feels good.
My flatmates tended to get a sniper, sit on a hilltop, pick off everyone like quietly, and then just run into the base and stab the last guy in the face.
This is what I tried to do, but they started to make that very difficult.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I've done this now. Then you'd run in there and they would all see you and gun you down.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when you like drop down, it's like, right, time to take them all out one by one. And the first guy sees you like, shit.
Shit, right.
We ready?
Yes.
Mhm.
So we are entering into a skill challenge.
Oh,
You have decided you are going to head to the Shattered Tower in the center. In fact, before we get into that skill challenge, before you leave this place that you're currently in, is there anything you want to do? Is there anything you want to RP or figure out or prep?
nope.
Is there any other madnesses coming over Ruthus? We got them all.
Make me a.
Ruthus
either
has a
Arcana
look of.
or insight.
Ruthus looks determined, very determined to get on.
I'm going to try and just distract him by clicking off to the side and see if he... Yeah, I guess that's insight or whatever. I'll just roll the dice. What do you want it to be?
Insight or Arcana, so int or whiz.
Int then. A 13.
Something's not right with Ruthus. Doesn't seem too like crazy, or it's definitely not debilitating. But he punched you, Dutch. He punched you in the middle of a fight, and you still don't really know why.
You just thought he was into it. That's pretty
Dutch punched him back and then they just carried on.
It was just like, it's normal. It's just
Just all
normal.
caught up in the moment, you know?
Equals equals.
Yeah.
It's just the heat of the battle. Sometimes you just need to punch.
Yeah,
something.
sorry, you know what?
Something.
I take that back. I shouldn't be putting what Dutch thinks in his head. Like, that's you.
Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. The
Oh,
address
that's weird.
you.
Wait, no, he's just like, that's normal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. Let's go.
you know something's not quite right, but it doesn't seem too serious.
So this is going to be risky, and it could end very badly. But Richter is thinking, as we ride off to this penultimate moment, he could really use that health doubling thing. And there's only one way to get that quickly. Which, can you please explain to me again how many points of exhaustion are death and?
Let me fully get the whole thing up. So six. If you're a level 6 of exhaustion, you're dead. The other levels of it are also pretty bad. Just so you know.
Maybe this isn't worth doing.
The action one, where you get it back in an action,
Yeah.
is not worth doing unless you are literally about to die in combat in the moment.
Yeah. All right.
But there are like other alternatives of doing it slightly less.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the
Less
short
bad.
rest and there's a long rest, but I think that's it really, and we don't really have.
Is there like a
Time for
1
those.
minute?
There's
I
not
love-
there's not a 10-minute one, is there? It's just
No.
It's just
It's
action.
long rest, short rest,
Short
action.
Grim.
Yeah, it's the last resort.
Sorry.
Only we can
Cut
pause
my
time.
life into pieces. All right.
Okay, okay, very good. Anything else, gypsies?
Nope.
No.
No.
Steely Reserve.
Okay, fair enough. You head into the city. As you begin your march in, stepping through one of the large sort of gateways. There are still walls, although broken and shattered, There are various ways into the city. You can see Shivra scurrying about the streets in the darkness. The purple lightning sort of casting illuminations and the red light of the blood moon washing down. As you step into the city, you are immediately all struck with the same feeling that you had when you went to the Shadowfell. A feeling of like depression and just like colour and life sucked out. The colour in Dutch's leathers and feathers is just like bled dry. It's just almost nearly grayscale. And the red of the moon is basically the only colour that's existing in this realm, or in the city itself. You occasionally see Shivra darting about the streets. You can see winged beasts flying around in the purple lightning above you. You can hear the marching of dwarves not too far away from where you are. And you can see the silver tower, a sort of aqua light glowing from the top that doesn't seem to dim from the effects of either the moon or the this Shadowfell-y type place. You begin your march. So your aim is to get to the center of the city. I have, as always, the amount of successes and failures needed for that, and various things that may or may not happen depending on what you do. Who would like to helm the beginning of your march through the city?
Not as a helm, but just before we start, I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace.
That is your first success.
Yay.
Oh, okay.
Nice, man.
Oh, fuck, that was risky.
So you have
Oh, shit.
one success so far. Azuk, using the Staff of High Canopy, yeah?
Yeah.
One of the few things you can do left. You cling to the darkness. Your cloak, Zook, turns to... like the leaves on it seem to like crunkle up and turn to ash in this realm.
Oh.
It is the antithesis of everything your Fey realm hates. It is the opposite. It is the other mirror image of the material realm. That's your first success. Who would like to continue on?
Richter feels this oppressive, depressing nature of this place that just saps any kind of moment or memory of any kind of light or warmth or joy. He knows that this will have a debilitating effect on the party. And so, as we move forward, Pass Without Trace comfortably shielding our walk, and in hushed tones, he begins to say, I don't know if any of you ever heard what I would call... Remember Siegfried, my sister? Did you ever hear me call her Guano? It's a nickname of hers. Well, and Richter begins to... Yeah, and he tells a whispering story of a time Siegfried went missing from the scabbard. Richter had to go and find her. He broke curfew to search for her and eventually found her bedraggled with her horse dead, but making her way and sheltering in a bat cave. And it was that day he found out that her one fear was of bats, because they started to shriek all around her and shit everywhere. And she ran from the cave shrieking with bat shit matting her blonde hair. And Richter tells the story in a very funny way, which he considers a kind of performance, you might say.
I know that story well because it's in your backstory as a legit story.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna I know you have a point of inspiration.
Yeah.
But you would have received one.
Thank you.
That's great. It's
Thank
just
you.
a call back to something that you've like never talked about the whole time.
Just
that's
before
why
we
you
die,
call it
do you want
Guano.
to know about the
Yeah.
time my sister got covered in shit?
Yeah, make your
So
performance.
creative as
It's
well.
a great way of using performance. Yeah.
18 plus 10, 28.
Zook feels
Oh.
visibly relaxed and whimsical at the telling of tales.
You've all been through some crazy stuff in the past literally few days. From, time has passed for you guys naught compared to this world literally in the last few days, like 4 or 5 days. And there's been ups and downs, but this is certainly a moment of light in the darkness as Richter just whimsically tells this tale of his sister. And you will give a little chuckle and feel the depressive atmosphere feels less. That's a perfect one. That's another success.
Yeah.
Oosh.
So could you describe the sort of geography that we're moving through at the moment?
So you're moving through like an ancient ruined city, not just crumbled over time, but obliterated in some kind of detonation or cataclysm in the center of this city, and then over eons, like the floor beneath you looks like it maybe once was obsidian or like broken magma. There's like areas of the roads that all like erupted out and then frozen over and then thawed off again. Everything's made of this same strange like slate like material that has no seams or joins, or it's like it's just been sort of forged out of this marbly slate stone, but it's all cracked and broken and in these pieces and frozen in different places. The streets are like dark and dreary rubble, like, and snow and purple lightning crackling sort of above you, archways that have kind of crumbled down, almost slightly like ancient Gothic style architecture but with less detail. Everything is like more smooth and weird.
Oh, Gothic brutalism. Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
For those of you interested with a meta approach to this is the city of Piedmont, in which you guys killed a gnome family for no reason in a basement, and a bunch of other stuff happened.
That's where I left the campaign. I remember.
That's where you left the campaign. That was 2 campaigns ago.
What was that? Was that Heinrich?
It was. Yep. And the original Aguirre and
Aguirre Prime.
Who
Golden
did you play,
Corporate.
Rupert?
Oh, I played some fucking random like farmer, monk guy
spearman,
with
a lone spearman.
with a trident.
Maddox
As a ranger.
Maddox had already been beheaded by the king.
Maddox
at that
had
point.
been beheaded by that point, and it was instead
Edward.
Edmund or Edward.
I don't know.
You got
is,
so
character.
into that character.
It was Edward. I think it was
Your
Edward.
voice was great for him.
The most broken shit I have ever experienced.
Oh, Pathfinder was fun, wasn't it? Anyway, you walk the broken, shattered streets 2 ages past of that city.
Would so I think at this point, like, Dylan would like to start sort of scouting ahead, like finding a most appropriate kind of route through this bizarre terrain. I'm sort of like happy to let you sort of like call what check that would be, like investigation or.
I think if you're like navigating, I'd probably say survival, because I guess you're like trying to. I think if it was more of a legit city that had
Sure, I get you.
More of a like actual map that still existed, it would be investigation. But
Orienteering.
I think now it's like deciphering woodland basically, because it's just become
It's just this strange.
Yeah, I don't know, but you could skin it investigation if you like gave some other reason. So I think it's up to you.
Or would are there clear threats?
There are clear threat. There's a bunch of stuff around. There's a bunch of Shivra. There's a bunch of flying creatures that are about. You can use your imagination to put whatever you want in to create the skill.
I think what he'll be doing is he's okay at his sort of like his tracking skills are pretty decent, but where his skills really lie is sort of like sort of in things within the more immediate vicinity. So he's looking for sort of like dangers and like pitfalls, like things that like his companions might fall into or like hurt themselves or even reveal their position. Okay. So he's going to sort of like do that instead of actually just sort of being a scout.
Okay, yeah. I'd say that's more investigation then.
Okay, let's do that then. 27.
With a 27, you scout around, but instead looking for pitfalls, traps. I would say like you're almost investigating the old architecture to see maybe what was once here and what potentially could be hazardous. You notice that where probably a larger building of sorts, potentially like some kind of church or temple sat, you figure out that there's likely to be, I don't know, maybe a courtyard or a larger area around, and you follow that path and yes, there is. And in fact, you find ways through the city that maybe you hadn't seen and lead you in different directions that the Shivra maybe haven't really figured out or wouldn't go to. And you make your way closer to the shattered tower. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll go for one. Zuka's gonna, as we navigate the way to the shattered tower, Zuka's gonna keep an eye on the skies, and every time a swarm of bats comes anywhere close to us, I'm gonna usher all of the gypsies like under an old ruined sort of alcove or something, or close to the wall of a shattered sort of ancient building. And basically try and be eyes on the skies, but also hover up on top of buildings occasionally when the coast is clear to see if there are any Shivra on the ground that we need to sort of wait for them to pass. Basically using my perception.
Go for it.
Have a look around. That is a 31.
31. With a 31, you notice that the winged beasts look to be some kind of devilish creatures, probably summoned by Malik or Vishik. And as you make your way further through the city, you remember seeing that the devilish workshop forge, like Magma Forge, on the other side of the city. You get some kind of high ground within the city and are able to see out. And you notice that the forge or the workshop a ways off. The lights that it once had within it have gone, and there is no longer fire within the forge. And all of the winged beasts seem to be returning to the forge. I would say with your passive insight, you would gauge that they are leaving. For the Devil Twins have been defeated, and the devilish pact, or whatever is here, is now ended.
Null and void.
Whereas some of the others...
They're heading back to the tower to go, what I would assume, back to the Hells.
To the Hells, yeah.
Okay.
Whereas some of the other campaign-related bits still exist.
Demon block. 5.
And you make your way successfully through further. Wow, a lot of successes. Who wants to go next?
Are there any small animals around?
Unfortunately, there are none. Absolutely none. Yeah.
Critters.
Yeah. No animals in the usual sense.
Did you say just now that we can put things in to help us?
Yeah, I would say, as long as it's imaginative and fits.
Okay. Ruthus would like to use his athletics to, as we're making our way through these broken streets and broken ruins, if we get a sense of maybe there's a Shivra patrol coming through, Ruthus would like to use his athletics to break into some of the ruins, maybe forcing open some doors, pushing things aside so that we can take shortcuts through some of the buildings and ruins that rubble is blocking the way of.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah. Roll a athletics check.
A 19.
There comes a moment when you are stealthily treading your way down a crumbled street, and you hear a strange, mad chittering. 3 creatures scuttle their way round the corner, and they are unlike Shivra you have seen. They move with supernatural speed. Their limbs about double the length of normal Shivra, but their bodies pretty much the same.
Oh.
They skitter along the ground, and you can see a couple of them look like they have sewn extra arms or an extra leg or appendage on, and they kind of move with this lanky, insanely quick speed. Their necks slightly longer and their jaws slightly sort of lower down. They chitter to each other. They look more feral than any sort of Shivra you've seen. Ruthus sort of smashes through into, as they see you, Ruthus smashes through into like a sort of broken, what maybe once was some kind of like stone tavern or something. You smash into the interior, which is like caked with frost, skidding your way through and pulling boulder sort of down or masonry down behind you, and make your way through into a different place, narrowly avoiding a potential encounter with these creatures. Well done. I'm just going to grab my pizza. It's in the oven, but someone needs to go next. Have a think of what you're going to do.
Pizza.
Let's
I
not
was-
do
yeah,
that and
Ruthus.
instead speculate on what pizza he's having.
when Tashi said you can invent something to put in, I just thought, how far can I take this? And
Well, I
thought,
was thinking,
I'd
like,
like-
how do I make strength work?
I was thinking, can I use my history knowledge check to read the road signs to the Shattered Tower to direct us?
What have we got to do? Just go? Are we like snaking our way up?
We're just making our way to the Shattered Tower.
You could carouse.
Yeah.
It's a city. You can't get
It's
lost.
technically a city. It's just a
Yes,
montage
yeah.
of Dutch hanging out with Shivra and Gavin.
Just splatting their heads in different areas.
Yeah. I'm done carousing, he says, covered in blood.
Right, who's next?
We didn't come up with anything.
I have an idea, though. Just a quick one, a quick and easy one, hopefully.
Okay.
We can wrap this up. I think at this point, Dylan will begin to scout ahead. He will purposefully move into places where he can sort of see danger, just to sort of like push the limits of where they're moving to, and sort of like see where the threats might be arriving. But because he's so skilled at quickly moving into the shadows, he can avoid detection, but he's able to find the best route by doing so.
What skill are you going to use?
Can I use stealth?
Yeah, let's see. You can use stealth.
33.
With a 33, that's another success.
Yeah.
Leading your group through, weaving your way past ever more Shivra. And at this point you start to see all manner of evolutions of Shivra. Maybe long gone experiments or mutations of them. Perhaps some deformed ones from the birthing pits, perhaps intentional. You see some of the same sort of like long-limbed, skittery ones. You see some others so deformed that they are unable to even walk. You see some just up against some masonry, undulating, their head in the wrong place. They don't really have any limbs. They're just chittering and kind of trying to drag themselves along. And as you kind of walk past them, it tries to like nip at your ankles and follow you back the way you came, but they're slow and can't move. You see others, the same kind of hulking ones that you saw before, lumbering about. A few of those giant colossus Shivra lumber through some of the streets, and Dylan manages to like lead you and weave you between them, keeping low, keeping to the shadows. You're nearly there, but not quite.
Got an idea? No one else? I've done a couple now, but I'm going to. So Zook, seeing the way these creatures behave and seeing them becoming more densely populated as we get into the city, it becomes harder to just simply move around them, and instead he sort of sees them operating in packs, and recognizes something kind of animalistic about a lot of them, bestial, and he's going to usher his companions to wait as he moves around the side of buildings, casting out minor illusions of some like piles of meat, and making strange noises similar to the chittering that he's basically trying to imitate calls to other Shivra. And I'm going to use animal handling to try and draw the packs away, if I can.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, go for it.
That is a 23.
Perhaps it was the time you spent with the Shivra when you were captured all those moons ago. But you pick up the animal instincts of especially these ones that are less intelligent than maybe the newer, more improved Shivra. You've met Shivra that pretended to be guards and were friends of Zyzus, the giant. They took supplies from Faramuk City and got on a ship through the storm. So Shivra have clearly come a long way, and these, yes, are definitely animals, and they are indeed attracted to flesh and meat and things like that, almost zombie-like, but with life. And it works. You herd Shivra towards minor illusions and managed to kind of sleuth your way past them, chittering, making strange noises. I think I would say that you can write like basic Shivra down on your character sheet as something that you
There's
can
a language.
sort of speak. There's like a chittering to it. Yeah, well, I think you've started to understand some of the chitterings. Maybe you'd be
intricacies of their poetic tongue.
You are now getting towards the shadow of this shattered tower. I'm gonna say that. Well, there's one more, but I'm gonna say that it needs to be Dutch because he hasn't done one in this skill challenge.
Hello.
Dutchie?
Michael?
I'm sorry.
I said that this one it's the last skill challenge and it has to be you because you haven't done one yet.
I'm gonna use...
Intimidate your surroundings.
Shout at the dead city.
Can I can't use a skill that's already been used, can I?
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh, okay, fine. Shit. Being in a city, Dutch is gonna use his cunning and wile to nip alleyways and shortcuts that would lead just from one street to the next without having to circle all the way around, and uses incredible stealth to lead the group in a more shadowy and obscured path.
Okay, make your stealth check.
+10.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 8. It is 22, 32.
Got to add the +10 to my 33 stealth check.
Oh my god. You reach the base of the tower. There is no clear pathway up into this tower at all. Lightning, purple of nature, crackles between huge pieces and shards of the tower itself that swirl round. Occasionally, above you, a huge piece kind of swirls round in the storm. The wind is whipping up around here. Pieces of like masonry and dust kind of whip past you, occasionally king off your armor or your shield. We're out of the skill challenge now, but we are beneath the tower itself, or near it.
Is there a visible door, or are we on like one of the blank sides?
You can make me either a perception or an investigation check.
I will make I'm not good at either, so let's go for perception. 6.
You're not sure.
It's a tower. It goes up. This is like that big tree.
What can we see looking up into are there windows or are there like...
Nothing is stationary. The entire tower is moving in this storm. So even the central tower, the one like right in the middle, is not even connected to the ground. It's like lifted up and it's rotating at all times, moving about.
Wait, can we, if we just look at that orb of the Shadowfell, can we see what's going on the other side of like the veil or whatever however you want to describe it?
Make me an Arcana check.
Yeah. Come on, baby. 16.
You gaze into the orb. You feel it beckoning to you.
Not like that.
Almost as if there's someone on the call, like on the receiving end of wherever this is. You sense maybe someone with more arcane talent probably could, but unfortunately it's a bit beyond you.
Tried to see what it looked like on the other side, but this thing confounds me. Also, there is a presence to it which I find very disturbing.
Switch you the sword for the orb.
Sorry?
I'll switch you this sword for that orb.
Here you are.
And I'll sort of just like toss him the fucking devil sword. And as he throws the orb.
The one that killed you.
And I'll
whole thing. Familiar.
I'll sort of like oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Sorry if that's insensitive.
No, it's quite the experience to hold the sword that fucked your head.
Well, maybe it's some consolation, I guess.
Live and learn. What can you make of it?
I don't know. I'll stare into the orb. I'll sort of like try and sort of divine the same sort of things that Richter was.
Sure. Make me an Arcana check.
Rolls as a 2, but it is a tagged skill, so it becomes 17.
Unfortunately, it's much the same as Richter. You.
A 19, sorry. Plus 3?
And even with a 19.
Oh boy.
You're unable to. You feel close, but not quite able to divine through it. You'd have to either just take the plunge, or find a different way.
As this is happening, watching the tower, it's disconnected from the ground itself. So, does it look like there's any way to get into the tower? How much gap is there between the ground and the tower?
Beneath the tower is like this purple storm kind of arcing in and amongst the pieces that are twirling around. It's probably about 40, 50 feet above, but there is like a crater, it kind of slopes down in the middle to where the tower sits. Like this is the impact point of whatever happened.
We walk around the tower. Like if Zook's going to float around the tower, is there any visible entrance on any side?
You begin walking around the tower to have a proper look. And after maybe 5 minutes of walking around, there's a lightning strike, and pieces of the masonry that are swinging around, you see, stops in the middle of the air. Another piece, pieces stop in the storm and are disconnected from it, creating a sort of rubble walkway that seems to lead up towards the tower.
Hell yeah.
Somebody knows that you are here.
I return to the others and I say, we were expected. Do we go?
I think so. Do we think there's any reason why we would go to the Shadowfell to see this tower in that place?
Varian mentioned that there were certain differences between the structure of this world and that one, even if the main form is the same. It could be that there is an entrance on the other side.
It wouldn't hurt to get the jump on whatever is up there.
Do we think that using the orb, that the Lich King would feel its presence, would know it's being used?
I'm gonna say make me an Arcana check. Unfortunately, it'll have to be an Arcana check.
A 19.
A 19.
Oh.
You think back to the orb. You've had the orb for a very, very long time. The things you know are that Dutch has spoken to what he thinks was Carmoon on the other side. He used the orb to communicate with something else. But equally, the orb's been used to transport you between realms. A perpendicularity, it was called. You've read about them. I remember you asking questions long ago about perpendicularities, and there are other perpendicularities that have been created. And they're usually created by someone or a god or someone very powerful, very significant. And they're usually significant in some way to that individual. It is entirely possible that if this is connected to Carmoon, that Carmoon would definitely know if you were using it. It's also very possible that, like now that you think about it, that Carmoon can probably see you through it, or trace you through it, or know where this is at all times. If if it's on someone or with someone and not somehow like just placed away, you don't know what it's capable of. But you know that it possesses extreme sort of dark magic and dark power. With a 19, you can't glean anything more from it in terms of what it may be or the secrets behind it. Similar to how Dylan got a 20 and still couldn't figure out some of the secrets behind the sword. But in terms of your question, Carmoon probably would. Carmoon probably knows where you are right now because you have the orb. But is the Shadow Lich Carmoon, or is he someone else? So
Interest.
If the Shadow Lich seeks to summon Carmoon, how there must be some line of communication between them. They must be able to speak somehow. If Carmoon knows where we are, the Lich must. And so it begs the question, is there any point in trying to go into a place potentially more dangerous when they already know our position?
But we know that Carmoon isn't in the Shadowfell. He's imprisoned or something like that, isn't he?
Aye.
Plus, if we travel to the Shadowfell, time here will pass at an increased rate.
I don't think there's much point in this at this time trying to figure much more out. I think we just have to take the plunge and do as the king, the pawn, and all that suggested we do.
You're right. The time is nigh. We're here and now. We have a meeting, if you will, a scheduled meeting with one necromancer within this tower.
As you begin ascending the steps, you can feel. So, Zook, you can feel the orb. You can feel it growing stronger or being more present. Ruthus, Richter, you can feel the sword that you're holding becoming more eager. You can feel something in your bag of holding equally becoming more pleased.
What did we put in there?
And Dutch, you're carrying the massive abyss blade, I assume.
Yeah.
You can feel that also becoming sort of more pleased, more eager.
You intending to use this sword?
Surely Abyss Blade isn't with us. Like, how would we have traversed the city stealthily whilst that was being carried? Or is it big enough for him to sort of like put on his back or something like that?
Yeah, it's like a massive sword, but Dutch is able to carry it because it has to be
because
he's 20 strength, and you can.
He just
carry
looks
it.
like anime
Dutch
character.
is guns.
Okay.
He can carry swords that big.
It's fine.
I mean, it's not wield, like you can't wield it, but you are able to just pick it up. Your strength isn't high enough for you to wield it, basically, but your strength is high enough
If
to
I
carry
span
it.
in a circle, would I eventually gain enough inertia that it lifted off the floor and started spinning like a really angry dreidel?
You can lift it off the floor. You just can't like swing it hard enough for it to basically do anything or be quick enough.
Okay.
How much does it weigh in like sort of real weight?
I don't know, a lot. Like,
Maybe 100 kilos?
yeah, I don't really know weights very well.
About as much as the rest of our equipment.
Zook's going to turn to Richter and say, isn't there some kind of book or tome that we found back in Barmart City? Something to do with devils. Is that what is in your
That's all
bag?
gone. That was all in the old bag.
I'm gonna just go into my bag of holding. Can I reach into the bag of holding and I want to find the thing that's reacting because I don't know what it is. But the way these bags work is you have to think about the thing, right?
You know what? The bag of withholding is a little bit sentient. Normally, bags of holding, you have to know what you're grabbing to pull it out. I will allow you a good animal handling check. We're going to say DC 18. And you can persuade the bag to give you the thing that is wanting to come out.
I need a beastmaster to besiege this infernal bag. It out.
I mean, I've had success in the past. It seems to like me.
Tickle its stitchings. Here, you take it.
I could give it a go. Wait, someone else hold the orb. I'll give Rick to the orb. No, wait. No,
I've got the sword and the orb.
Dylan has the orb. It's fine.
Is it an animal? Can I speak to it?
It's not it doesn't have language.
From a beast. Okay. I'm gonna just tickle it under the chin and say, "Hello, old friend. It's me, Zook. You really don't need whatever's in your mouth. It's rumbling around. It must be quite uncomfortable. That's not what you want in your belly. Now let's take it out nice and gently. No biting." And I reach my hand in and try and get it out.
Okay.
With a 16. Just not enough.
With a 16, you tickle it, but unfortunately it stays stum.
Well, that's just not very nice. Hand it back to Richter.
Someone can roll me a history check, someone can roll me an investigation check to try and put the pieces together to figure out what the item might be that is in the bag.
I will match you with that investigation check.
Okay, it's going to be the same DC 18.
It's like 1 million.
That's the best roll,
over 25.
Over 25. Dylan.
29.
The only thing that you can think that would connect all of these items that you have together is they were all from followers of the Shadow Lich.
Oshkar?
But I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is.
No,
That's
sure,
enough.
yeah. Dylan is intelligent enough to put the clues together of what is reacting, but not necessarily remember for other people what the item was.
Yep. Yeah. You guys have got to figure that out.
I don't fucking remember.
Be anything of Wendellin's? Was he aligned with these forces?
No, but it might be Zyzus. Did we get anything from Zyzus?
His axe? No, it's got to have happened since the bag of holding was lost.
Well, Malik and Vishik.
Who has the list of stuff that's in the bag of withholding?
What did we get from the dragon scale, or something from the dragon? The blue dragon in the Feywild was a follower of Carmoon.
We have the heart. That's what you mean. And
was he a follower of Carmoon?
Aye. He was the Cobalt Deceiver. He was one of them. He said that he was tricked into following Carmoon. Or something like that.
Heart out. I mean...
Are you putting the heart out?
I think we got rid of the heart.
You took it out at the meeting on the...
Slammed it on the table.
Slammed it on the table and you put it back in after. You didn't leave it on the table.
Take it out.
You need to get it out of the bag of holding, so you have to make me an animal handling check.
Oh, I'll assist.
Go for it.
You go for it.
Are you assisting?
I can assist you, yeah, sure. I just look at it angrily.
That's a 26.
You tickle it once more, knowing what the item is, and its mouth sort of splurges open, all this blood comes out, and a very gooey, thick, gelatinous heart of a dragon comes out of the bag.
Probably should have preserved this somehow.
You feel it thump, thump, beat with a rhythm. A rhythm that implies that it is not just a heart. In this place where you are currently, this item, whatever it is, holds some kind of meaning, and also feels pleased or feels more at home where it is. That's the kind of weird mental state you get from this item.
What do I think would happen if I stabbed it?
I don't know. What? Do you want to do a check of some kind?
Yeah.
You can do me an Arcana check.
A natural 20!
Magic items are hard to destroy. And so destroying a magical item, it needs to be destroyed by a magical item. It's also very difficult. It's not just simply stabbing it. You can also dispel the magics from it, destroying it at the same time. If I was with a natural 20, if you want to destroy this item, you can stab it with the Sunblade, and I will get you basically to make some kind of check. I'm not going to say. You have to roll a certain check in order to destroy it. You don't know. Even with a natural 20, you don't know. You literally don't know what that's going to do because you haven't figured it out or figured these out. You don't know if that's the right thing to do necessarily. I think your gut, as Ruthus, says that you should, but you don't have information.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
How is it that we use these items to assist us for what's to come? I just don't understand. If we're bringing these items that yearn to be with their master's master, then I don't see the benefit.
Surely we want to keep them away.
We can't just leave them here.
We have them now, but fuck. I don't know.
Well, we're just going to have to keep them away from the Shadow Lich and hope that somehow bringing them to him won't somehow reincarnate them. And this is one fear I have.
I say let's put it to a vote right now. What does your
We've
gut
never
tell
done
you?
this before.
Should we destroy this heart? Give it a go.
My feeling is, if it is pleased to be here, then it has no business living.
Let's not say our thoughts. Let's just vote on it. Ready?
Kill!
You're in a hurry, Lord Mayor.
All
right.
those in favor of destroying, raise your hand on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Does Dylan put his hand up? We can't see you.
Well, that's
No, he
4
doesn't.
out of 5. Very well. Place it upon the ground.
It's on the ground anyway because Zook was too weak to lift it.
yeah, it just was. The bag of withholding just threw it up onto the steps up to the final boss.
If it wants to be here so much, I say we deny it. And Ruthus pulls out the sunblade and brings it down.
Steps
on
30 feet back. Steps 30 feet.
Yeah. We're just going to leg it down the steps.
Okay, Ruthus, you are going to need to not make me an attack roll, nor make me a damage roll, but instead, you're going to have to make me a saving throw.
Oh.
And I just need to get these items up because I need to see which type it is. What is the The heart is a Constitution saving throw. You must make.
I'm good at these. Okay. I don't get a advantage for this, do I? I don't think so. Okay, here we go. Woo! That is a 20. A 25.
The Sunblade pierces the heart, and you immediately watch the heart begin quivering. Those that are holding other items, can you just make me quick strength saving throws?
Uh-oh. Okay, I've got the
Me too.
sword.
You're not holding another one, are you?
Dylan was holding the orb,
So the
I think.
orb, the sword.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I've
So
got
I
the
guess
sword.
I took the sword back. We switched back to the orb, or it's up to you.
I'm holding something. I don't know what.
All right.
Richter's got the sword.
Richter has the sword, Zook has the orb, and
Oh,
Dutch
taking that.
has this. Oh, so Dylan, you don't actually have anything at the moment.
No.
So
Strength.
So
Okay.
Dutch, Zook, and Richter all need to make me strength saving throws.
14 minus 4.
17.
Oh god. I hope everyone doesn't die right now.
Strength saving throw. Okay. I only have advantage on those when I'm raging. So 11, 5, 6, 22.
22, 17, and
A 10.
Richter and Dutch, you managed to hold on to the swords. You've both got the swords that threaten to wriggle out of your grasp and fling themselves towards Ruthus. The orb, however, slides out of your hand, Zook. You are just not strong enough to withhold it, and it
Can
slams.
I use my reaction to try and grab it?
You know what? I will say yes. You are standing nearby and with your senses. Make me a quick. I'll say dexterity saving throw. I think it's a saving throw as well.
Now he's playing blitzball.
I think that's going to be a 24.
DC was 20. You reach
that was
out
20.
and like a what are they called, the quaff or whatever it is in
A quaffle?
the quaffle. You like catch this orb in your hand. It's like pressing itself in and eventually subsides. It would have smashed into Riz's head basically. The heart in this moment emits a screech. A dragon sort of screech that's followed by a howl. A man's howl. A voice sort of shatters out from it. And the heart grows black and turns into dust. And you hear this as it disappears. The whole tower that you are on shudders. Even though it's all in the air, it's almost like the electricity like cuts off for a sec, or the storm kind of like breaks, and the whole thing, like bits begin to drop and then catch and continue round. And you hear this like unhumanoid shrieking noise sort of across the whole city.
They are phylacteries. These artifacts. Wait, would Richter know that word?
Richter, roll me a quick history check. I'll give you advantage because you are part of Dawn's Blade, and I will let Dylan also do me a history with advantage as part of the church.
First is 3. Second is 17.
I also got I got an 18.
You, upon saying these are phylacteries, Richter, you are taken back to research that perhaps is kept at Dawn's Blade.
Oh, sweet knowledge.
That first library of mine.
Knowledge at Dawn's Blade talking about wizards who eventually make themselves into liches.
Wizards!
But you couldn't quite place the details there. Perhaps it was something you read in the library. Perhaps something you read in your own codex or something somewhere. It's the same bit of knowledge appears in your head as well, Dylan. You've read books, you've studied creatures and strange monsters and all sorts. Lich, phylacteries. It now makes sense. In order for a lich to stay living, it must place a piece of itself, a piece of its soul, similar to the god of games. The god of games was split and placed into various objects. This lich has harnessed the same knowledge from the god of games and split its own soul into various items to keep himself alive. These items before you are indeed phylacteries of the Shadow Lich.
It was like a whole revelation sequence. The camera was spinning around all of us as we were like
on the steps into the
Ruthus looks up at the tower. You don't like that, eh? Bring forth the next one. Sword raised.
As you begin bringing forth the next one, the piece of masonry you are on, off the ground, begins swinging up into the storm.
Oh fuck!
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh god!
We jump off.
We could find another way up.
No, as in you are going up to the tower on the piece of masonry. You are.
Ricky, put it down.
I grab whoever, and I say jump to everyone.
Jump. I jump.
Yeah.
I jump.
So you're jumping with the intent to not go up or go to the ground.
Yeah, not to go up.
Okay, the jump is already pretty high. It's gonna cause fall damage.
Okay, fine.
Well, as soon as I started flying up in the air, I wanted to jump.
Okay, cool. The whole thing.
No, it's absolutely fine.
Shifting.
Featherfall.
You
bang!
jump,
as soon as we all jump.
You all jump and featherfall, and you begin hovering down. As you are falling, pieces of masonry come flying towards you, hovering down, and are going to slam into your sides as you fall.
As they come towards us, can I cast Gust of Wind to try and slow them down?
Is that a cantrip?
No, it's a level 2 spell.
It's a level 2 spell. Make me a spellcasting attack, use your attack bonus. This is like your mental will to push back huge pieces of masonry that are flying towards you.
Plus 14, so 24.
As this is happening, I'm taking Death's rapier out and I'm fucking slamming it into the orb.
Okay, as you're falling, you take Death's rapier out. Bam! Zook releases this huge gust, bigger than a level 2 by sheer force, and you knock the huge piece of masonry off to the side in the air.
It lasts for a minute, and I can change the direction, so I can keep doing that.
Constantly throwing as you're falling down. Okay, the orb, you slam your sword, Death's rapier, which is a magical weapon, into the orb. The orb is an intelligence saving throw.
Blessed
really?
day.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
It's the intelligence one.
Oh, okay, nice. 24.
Bam! The sword shatters through it, and as you push through it, you feel almost like it's going through you've killed people through the head before. It feels like piercing a skull and going through brain. You smash through this. You hear the same shriek. The whole orb shatters into dust and disappears around you. Amazing. Amazing.
As we're falling, I'm going to shout to Richter, wield the blade, parry my blow. And we're gonna...
In midair, okay.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
By slow falling, or it's kind of... Yeah.
You're slow falling while Zook is gusting these huge pieces of the storm. I will say you're slow falling, but you're in the storm, so you're being whipped up and around, not standing on anything within the storm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you're all
Richter...
kind of together, like whipping round in this tornado that's picked up even more. It's like clearly being controlled. You are slightly descending, but occasionally you're kind of being whipped up further. You're just not on anything, particularly on the ground. But I would say Zook's gust is basically stopping you all from flying apart. He's like keeping you together as the Archdruid of Air right now.
You've got one job.
I try and smash the giant sword now that we're all flying against any incoming boulders to do any damage
you
to
kind of whip it round, and you don't actually hit the boulders, but you put it out, and as the boulders are coming round, they just hit it and split.
It has to be a magical item. Just
the boulders
are
just
break
like
it with your
break
fist.
The boulders
Take
just
both hands and break it over your head.
How did you know that was going to be the next thing?
I know you, brother.
Okay, you are going to use your stone gauntlets, your
crystalline
gauntlets to smash it above your head.
Well, yeah, because my unarmed attacks count as magic, and my head is an unarmed attack.
So you two need to make me a saving throw. That one also just so happens to be strength. You guys literally, I was watching you give each other the things, and I was like, oh, Zook's got the orb. I was like, that's going to be an insane. That's going to be hard. And then you literally have moved around.
Oh shit! Okay, Richter. Yeah, you do that one because it's going to be a whiz save.
I got a 28.
A 28. Crack! You snap it in two above your head using your crystalline hands and your pure strength in the storm. You see abyssal tendrils and things shatter out from it as it turns to dust, and you hear another shriek. The storm subsides for a second and picks up stronger even more.
I can't believe we once feared goblins.
The hell, this devil blade. It's like. Am I right?
Fitting,
it's
Richter.
Like a two-bladed.
Fitting.
It's like one long thin blade that has like a forked bit at the end, like a tongue.
Right. Okay.
And it's got like batwing cross guard. It's really cool. You should probably keep it and not destroy it.
Man, how to get the angle on this right? Okay. Richter is gonna.
Toss it to someone and fucking
split
it.
I mean, am I close to anyone in all this whipping?
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say you are because of the gust. Yeah.
Okay. Can I extend the hilt of it to the closest person? Say, take this.
I think Dylan's killed the orb. Dutch is doing his thing.
Ruthus
is near.
Rufus, take it.
Ruthus reaches out and grabs the hilt.
And as he does, Richter then, as soon as he lets go of the devil blade, he just goes into an immediate spin, like propelled by the winds, and just whips out the halberd. Hopefully not getting Rufus's neck along the way, but trying to just smash right into the sword.
Okay. So the tongue lasher is a charisma saving throw.
Oh, yeah.
How did this go?
I mean, of course it is.
Yeah, of course.
It's the tongue lasher. Do you get that as a saving throw as a paladin as well? You have that tag.
Yeah. It's the highest saving throw I have.
Okay, cool.
GG guys, we won the game.
That is
Sing 2 though.
That is 21.
I mean, that's just. You bring the halberd through and across it, and you watch as it becomes its liquid tongue form and then turns into flame and dust, and you hear a as it fades off to the side.
Amazing. I'm really proud of all of us in this moment.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I just need to bring up something on here.
Just gotta modify some stats. Just move some numbers around.
Abyss Bane destroyed. Tongue Lasher destroyed. Orb of Carmoon destroyed. And Voltram's Heart destroyed. With that, the storm begins to settle, and it slowly whips you up and around as the pieces of masonry around the outside of the tower begin to fall, crashing into the ground as the storm still exists and the main tower in the center still remains, but it's perhaps weaker, perhaps it's calming. It seems to be bringing you up to the top of the tower, or at least like the center. You can resist, or you can let it take you up there.
We don't have anything else, right?
Do we feel anything else tugging that's on a person?
You don't.
Tugging
no.
yourself?
You don't.
Okay.
I think
must have
we
missed
just
something.
we just go up.
Yeah.
You let the
Oh shit! You know what else? I bet it's the bow that was in the Church of the High Hunt.
I think that was something different.
It's 9:10. However, this is sort of it. So I don't know if guys want to like go a tiny bit longer, and this could be.
I don't think I can. I'm really sorry.
In which case, we will end with this.
Sorry, guys.
No,
that's
it's
fine,
good
it's fine.
because we can
Might
also
be a
get an
short
opportunity
session.
to do
It
this in
means that the
person.
next session will probably be the last one, and it will also be the session you might have to prep for in terms of the epilogue.
Okay.
Excellent.
So, the winds carry you up to the top of the tower, the shattered tower. The tower itself still kind of rotates and moves alone, held aloft by this arcing electrical storm above you. And you're placed down, each of you, onto the top. You can see atop this tower is indeed a great ritual, a ritual circle that has been formed. And you see other stones atop it. You can see the ice stone that was taken from the heart of the Varamark. It was taken from Fieldstown. You see this is much like the image you saw before. One side, I'll re-describe the top of the tower. One side of the tower wall continues sort of up in this almost Skyrim style circular tapestry, and everything is set up kind of around that. The tapestry is of the same Carmoon style depiction that you can almost see slightly like moving in that stone. You see the ice stone there. You see the firestone ablaze, heat rippling off it on the other side. You see a stone with bubbling, frothing salt water pouring from it and sort of pouring off the side of the tower itself, the sea stone. You see a stone of necrotic energy pulsing with death itself, and next to it a stone of verdant green of life, the life stone. And standing taller, sort of in the center back of the tower, a stone which is a void gap. You look at it and it is a section of space that you cannot see. It doesn't exist. There's like a three-dimensional piece that's been like cut out of space, and there is nothingness through it. It almost draws in air into the gap that exists there. You land positioned in specific spots to kind of like create the full circle. And you see a figure shrouded in the center of this tower. They pull back their hood slowly and turn towards you. A face of a skeleton, a skeletal face, still with some remnants of beard and dark hair down their back. Well, you have finally come then to complete this ritual. I'm sure you have many questions of me. He begins sort of coughing, even with his skeletal face. You can see he looks hurt or injured in some way. You would assume from your reliquary killing. But I am not dead yet. And that's where we're going to end the session.
Beautiful.
Ooh.
Oh, that was a nice revelation, boys. That was the last hour. That was nice.
I'm glad we did that. And then leave them behind.
Oh, hey, wait, it's that big.
You guys just rolled some bad Arcana check, but you didn't quite get the DC of the Arcana check at this point, so it took a bit, but you made it there. It was nice to feed you clues and not just tell you outright as well, like when you guys got it. Interesting. So this, in terms of game mechanics, you know, we're entering the very end of the campaign. Everything you have done has led up to this point, and certain decisions and choices have led you to this point, and certain things or certain places may have had importance. For example, finally destroying the Devil Twins, destroying Frank so long ago and getting the orb sort of from him then, destroying Voltrum, who was another one, destroying some other people like Zyzus, who you may or may not have realized what you did at the time, but had impacts in certain ways. All has fed into this last challenge that will happen at the end, which will be a final skill challenge, to either resummon Carmoon or pull together the God of Games. And
amazing.
I've got
Nice.
a whole thing of mechanics written down here with DCs, which we'll go through next time. And I will tell you, because we can prep for this, the skill challenge will involve you having to... your characters don't know this, but this is what will happen, and it's good to prep. The final challenge essentially will be a test, rather than a battle, of strength and physical power. It'll be a test of willpower, not wisdom, but willpower of you guys and your journey and your bond.
Wow. And
essentially, you can contribute fondest memories from the campaign to the challenge to make the DC, to make your roll on the DC a bit better.
That's nice.
And he had a bunch taken off him depending on how many of the reliquaries you killed and other stuff to deny him bonuses.
Oh wow.
It could go either way.
The roll, sorry?
So I'm not going to reveal all of the mechanics, or unless you want to hear them, so you know.
No, it's okay.
Essentially, for every memory to a total of 10, so there's 5 of you, you can do 2 memories each.
Okay.
They're fond memories and times from the whole campaign that we've done.
Yeah.
And so for next session, I basically want you to prep a couple of these memories. You can write something down, or like just write some notes or whatever. There's no necessarily like rule on what the memory is, but I think the point is it needs to be something that ties you all together and is like a moment in the campaign that we all shared. That will strengthen your bond to the ritual and the god of games rather than to Carmoon and everything he represents.
Nice.
So it doesn't have to be to do with Carmoon.
Get busy on that chat.
So have a little think about what those are going to be, and then next session we're going to do the final challenge with these memories, and see whether the god of games is returned to its full strength, or Carmoon is summoned and the world is destroyed forever. And it'll be a fun way to end off the campaign. Equally, start having a think about if your character survives in either world. I should say, basically, well done, guys. You fucking did it. You fucking basically done it. If it goes either way, that's just sort of how it is.
Closure's closure.
Yeah, finished a campaign. That's pretty nuts.
And you've all survived. Like, even if you die after this, you technically survived the whole thing.
Finish line.
This is almost half a decade in the making.
So
in real time.
Have a little think in your heads, because we'll do the epilogue next week. And if you fail and Carmoon returns, what does Richter do? For his life? And if you succeed and the god of games is resummoned, what do you ask of it? What do you want to change? World?
This is awesome. So, that's gonna be great.
Either way, come up with something. Think of the memories of the whole campaign as a whole. I'm gonna also contribute a couple, because why the fuck not? they're memories that you all have about you guys, and they get thrown in as well, and then we'll do like the epilogue thing, and I'm gonna do an epilogue for basically like one of those so and so went on to do whatever, like, for I'm gonna try and do it for every single character that's ever existed. So we'll see. So tune in for fucking next week, the final session. No!